In this video, I'm going to review the Cordless Eagle blower. I'll tell you where we use it, where we don't use it, the pros and cons, and our overall experience with the tool. If you want to check out the link to the tool, it'll be linked down below, as long as the podcast, the Facebook training group, and the ultimate guide to start your business. All that will be linked down below. So over the years, and you can even go back in the YouTube videos, I've gone through a few air tools to aid in the drying process. I've used the Metro Sidekick, I've used the Festool vacuum that also turns into a blower, I've used a motorcycle blower, and you know, they all range from either $70 to the vacuum, which I use as also a blower, was $700. So I've used a wide range, nowhere near all the tools that are on the market, but I'd say enough to give you some strong feedback on which one is best and where you want to fit what. And with this one, the biggest pro to it, amongst other things, the biggest pro across all the other ones that I've used is that it's cordless, it's battery powered, meaning you don't have to plug it up to your generator or to a wall and mess with an extension cord when it comes to drying the vehicle. Now this helps a lot depending on the situation that you're in. Us, we're mobile, so we already have a generator running, we already have a few extension cords, we already have reels to hold the vacuum hose, the extractor hose, the air compressor hose, the pressure washer hose. So we already have a bunch of cords like around the vehicle. So if we can decrease the amount of cords or hoses that are scattered across the vehicle or the driveway or wherever we're working, it's gonna help us out a lot. So with this cordless blower, the biggest benefit is that it's battery powered, meaning you just remove it from the van, walk to the car, and start using it. Very important to note is that we don't use the blower to dry off the entire vehicle. We primarily use it just to knock off the standing water in the tight areas or the flat surfaces. So that'll be on the door handles, the badges, the front grille, and just to knock off like the majority of standing water that's on the vehicle. Now we're not gonna like stay on one panel and like make sure we're blowing as much of the water off. No, we're gonna do that with the drying towel. The main purpose of the blower is just to make sure to knock off that water, to scatter it, and to make sure we get as much water out of the tight area. So we use it on, obviously, the vehicle when we're drying, but also on the engine bay and the wheels and tires. A few cons to it is that, one, it is pricey. I think it was like almost $300 for the blower itself, and it only comes with one battery. And we don't like just having one battery because if it dies, if we forget to charge it, if anything happens to that battery when we're out in the field, we are out of luck with that blower. So we have two batteries, and the second battery, just to buy the battery alone, was close. The price was close to buying a whole unit in itself. I think the battery was like $2 something, so it was only like a little bit more to where you can just buy a whole new unit and get the battery with it as well. So the batteries are expensive on them. So I wouldn't recommend you purchase this if like you're just getting started and you're like, how should I dry vehicles? Oh, he's recommending that blower, get it. No, I definitely recommend you get this blower once you're a little bit more into your business and you have a more steady stream of customers and you actually need the tool, because it's not cheap. It is definitely not cheap. And there's plenty of other affordable options like the Metro Sidekick that I used for years that you can start off with, and then as your time goes on, as you get more customers, you can upgrade to this or some type of similar tool of like the Eagle blower. Second con, which isn't really that big of a negative because you'll find this problem with basically every other blower, is the noise. When you're just blowing it just out of the air, it's not that bad. It's when it makes contact with with a surface and then it goes to the high squeak sound, whatever you want to call that. That's kind of annoying, being the user of the blower. So you want to wear some earmuffs or some canceling, whatever they're called. That way, I mean, if you're using it once every now and then, all right, sure, just use it. But when you're doing multiple vehicles and you keep on turning it on, it really helps to protect your ear holes. So make sure you have some type of safety protection around your ears, because long-term wise, doing this years and years and years, you don't want to hear all that noise in your ear every single time. It just takes a few seconds to slap them on. So if you are going to use, not this type of tool, but any like blower that will kind of hurt your ears, not hurt, but a little discomforting, use some ear muffins to help cancel out the noise while you're using it. Now, back in the day, I was looking a lot at the, what's it called, the Metro Master, no, the Master Blaster, and then there's the similar product, the Big Boy, where it has like 8 horsepower or 4 horsepower, something like that. And like now, like I definitely would not recommend that as for mobile detailing, for specifically mobile detailing, just because again, you have to deal with the cord, so you have to put, unless you have a long enough hose, like you're gonna have to bring down the Master Blaster, connect it, then move it to the vehicle, and then once you turn it on, the hose is gonna extend. You sure can't let go of that hose once you're running it, because it'll fly everywhere, potentially hitting the vehicle. So you cannot let it go, because that would just not be good for anyone. So there's too many drawbacks to that one. Plus, I think the power output is pretty crazy, I believe, like in terms of like how you can run it. I haven't looked at those like specs or units in a while, so I'm actually not sure on like how much power you need. But for a mobile unit, I definitely would not recommend that. I would 100% recommend either a smaller handheld type blower like the Master Blaster, or go completely cordless with some type of blower. I don't know how many other blowers there, options are on the market, but look around. We didn't have any real like super specific criteria of what made this one the best. So it's not like I'm giving you like, hey, we searched through 10 different blowers and this is the best. No, it looked good reviews, the ratings and specs look, I guess, good. So we purchased it, got a battery. That was basically the entire thinking behind it. Now, as far as how long the battery lasts, we were actually quite surprised on how many cars we could go through on the turbo setting, because it has like its normal on setting, then it has a turbo setting, and most of the time we're on the turbo setting. And obviously when you're on the turbo setting, it's gonna use up more battery. And we're able to get around, I can't tell you the exact number of vehicles, because it's not like, because we're only blowing the vehicle off, and we might take longer, here and there, based if it's like a big wheel or there's more emblems and such. So it's hard to give you like a specific 7 cars or 3 hours of use time. But just overall, I could say the battery lasts pretty well. We haven't had to go, fall back on the second battery, because the first one lasts long enough, and it gives us enough, we have enough of a warning to where we need to recharge it before it completely dies. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. But overall, I want to say the battery life is excellent. We got way more than what we expected we were going to get out of this cordless blower. And remember, we're just using it to blow off the standing water. We're not standing there trying to blow off the entire vehicle. If you're doing that, all right, the lifespan will probably be greatly shortened. So because we're not doing that, it lasts very well. We will use the blower to draw off a whole vehicle if we're doing like a touchless wash on a corrected and coated vehicle that isn't that dirty. But that is far and few in between, so I wouldn't really count that as, that's more of a one-off case. So that's definitely not something that we do often. And another big benefit to the cordless blower is when we get to the location, let's say it's a driveway, and there's just a bunch of leaves, grass, debris on the driveway where we're gonna be primarily working. Before we pull anything else out, we'll get the blower, turn it on, and just blow off the driveway to have a clean surface. This one actually comes in handy. We've used that quite a few times on just to blow off the driveway to have a cleaner surface area. And it takes no time. It makes life so much easier for us to not have to like stepping on leaves and we step that into the car and then we gotta vacuum again and whatever. You just get to the job site, you say, oh look, the driveway's dirty. You get the blower, you kind of blow it off to the side, and then you get to work with a much cleaner area. And this is big for mobile, because a lot of times we're at home locations, and I mean, it's just a lot of debris on the ground, and it's not fun when you're like washing a vehicle and then you have to get inside the vehicle and you just have leaves and dirt all around the driveway. Now, when you are using it over the vehicle, you want to make sure you put 2 hands on it. Don't try to be Mr. Macho Man and just use 1 hand. It can get heavy, especially when you're using it overhand and your arm starts to get fatigued. So always have 2 hands on it firm, because I mean, if you let it go and you have it on turbo and you let it go with your left hand and it just swings to the right or to the left, I mean, it'll hit something, and obviously that's not good for anyone either. So I think I'll end it right here. I covered all the points. If you have any other questions, comments, concerns about the tool, how we use it, where we use it, why we use it, just leave that in the comment section down below. And to check out my Detailing Business Class podcast, to join the Detail Group Facebook group, to download the ultimate guide to start your detailing business, all of that will be linked down below. And I'll talk to everyone on the next one.